If you have some wide leg jeans which are too long for you, like my daughter has here, then this tutorial will show you how to easily hem those jeans, keeping the original hem on a basic sewing machine. So first off, you'll need some pins or clips, marking tool and a measure, either a ruler or a tape measure, either is fine. The bottom of the jeans needs to be the same width as the leg of the jeans in order to make this straightforward. So try them on and then turn them up by however much you need to take off. Remember to try these on with the trainers or footwear that you're going to be wearing them with regularly. Grab a ruler and then measure up from the very bottom of the jeans how much you need to take them up by. So I'm just doing little marks all the way along, and then I'm going to be joining them up to draw a line around. I'm just using a pencil, but you can use any kind of marking pens, erasable pens, chalk, any of those things will do. So just join that up and then you'll have a line all the way around. You'll then need to add in a seam allowance. So I'm using 5/8 of an inch, which is 1.5 centimetres, and I'm marking down from where I've drawn that original line. So the seam allowance of that 1.5 centimetres is where I'm going to be cutting. And again, put that all the way around. So as you can see, the bottom of the jean here, the cuff is the 6 inches, but the line is just slightly less. So I'm taking off that 5/8 of an inch, and that's where I'm going to be cutting. So I just start by making a small snip, and then cut all the way around. I'm not using a rotary cutter because I want to cut these on a single layer just to make sure that the front and the back of the leg is even. They can be quite bulky going over the side seams, so make sure you've got a nice sharp pair of scissors. With the cuff, effectively the cuff that you've just cut off, you'll need to mark down a seam allowance from the top stitching. So not from the very bottom of the jeans, but where you can see that original hem, you want to mark down, so 5/8 of an inch. Again, that is where you're going to be cutting. So you're going to trim this big cuff off. Then you want to make sure your jeans are the right way out, and then put that band with the original hem on over the jeans. So you're putting it the right sides together. Now you want to try and match up those side seams as best you can. So there's two main lines that you need to mark on the outer and the inner leg, and just match those up with the original hem and the piece that you're attaching it to. I'm using pins, but clips work just as well. I would recommend pinning or clipping equally all the way around, and as this hem is the same circumference as the leg, I don't have any excess fabric, so just make sure there's no rippling or any gathering of the fabric and it's all nice and even, and then just double check that your seams are lined up. I'm using a denim needle in my sewing machine because it's strong to go through this, and so you want to stitch as close to that top stitching as possible. So with the 5/8 of an inch hem allowance, you really want to keep an eye out for the needle of the sewing machine going as close to that original hem, but do not stitch over the hem, just as close as you can to the little fold of the original one. And remember to back stitch at the start and the end of your stitching. It can be bulky going over those side seams, so I would recommend stitching really slowly, and just slow your pedal down when you're stitching over those bits. If your machine does struggle, you can take it off and use a hammer to flatten the fabric down and then try again. I haven't had any problems stitching over it with my machine though. So it's nice and neat on the outside, but you have been left with a raw edge on the inside. Now you can either trim this down, serge or overlock it, or if you want a really neat finish, you can unpick that original hem and then flip down that rough bit and then enclose it in the hem. You would need to then top stitch all the way around the bottom of the jean. I've just left it because no one can see it, but I'm just giving it a good press on the iron so it sits nice and flat. And as you can see from the outside, you have no idea that they've been shortened. So this is the before with all that excess fabric, and this is the after shot, nice and neat, hanging nicely over those trainers. So I hope that this helps you out, and don't forget to check out my channel for more sewing tips and tricks.